effects, and live things. Before I get into talking about Glacier, album 18 that just came out on May 1st, today, I just want to talk a little bit about my gigs that are coming up, two in particular. One, which is happening tomorrow in Visalia, California, with a band called Mezcal. Band leader's Carlos Rodriguez, great friend of mine, and always have a blast playing with him 2 to 3 times a year. And so that's going to be happening tomorrow at Barrel House in Visalia from 3:30 to 6:30 p.m. So if you're in the area, come out, have a great time, listen to some cumbias, some rock, some oldies. That whole mixture vibe is going to be happening. My other gig I want to talk about is just my solo gig, which is always something that I wish I could do all the more often, but I don't really put myself out there to get these gigs. And so I think after this upcoming week, I'm going to try to do more to promote that, to have some sort of promo material available to send to venues should they want to hire me, right? Explore what musical performances I can offer. And so this solo gig is going to be on Tuesday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, at the 26th Hour Speakeasy in Tulare, California. And that'll be happening from 7 to 10 p.m. Super excited. I'll be doing a majority of Spanish pop covers, but I'll be doing a few English pop covers as well. A lot of cumbia and salsa / reggaeton vibes, but as well as some jazz standards that are on the Latin side of things, and a few originals as well that are more on the Latin side of things. So it's going to be a great time. I'm really excited to loop like a madman and use my effects and just do what I can do on my bass. Have a great time with the crowd. So come out Tuesday. All right, that wraps it up for the couple of gigs I wanted to mention. Glacier is out on all platforms. Album 18. I'm really happy to hear this album after not having heard any of the material for several weeks. It had just been sitting in a cloud, waiting to drop, and it's now available. And so right off the bat, I want to mention that the beautiful album cover, that artwork is by my beautiful wife's hand. It's hanging in my music room, in my music studio, and so I decided to use that since it's got some sort of peak triangular shape. It made me think a little bit about, mountaintops and maybe some icy mountains and glaciers at that, right? So I'll get to the title Glacier and the track Glacier in just a bit as to why, but I'm going to go down the list 1 through 9, just talk a little bit about each track, and I may actually play a little sample here off my phone just so I can recall what is going on, what actually happened on these tracks, and so I don't give some misinformation about where my mind was at or what effects were used for each song. So first track is called Coastline. Just play a little sample off this on my phone. Okay, right. Okay, I'm gonna stop it there, but I'm smiling big because this track totally reminds me of John Mayer and his track or song "Still Feel Like Your Man," and I didn't deliberately, I did not try to copy the tonality or the vibe. It's not even in the same key, but the point is, we have these influences, and somehow they come out through our music subconsciously, and then in retrospect we can look at it and realize, oh my goodness, this sounds similar to stuff that I dig or that I've heard. And so I did check the original or John Mayer's original track to see how it compared. And again, after I was done with it, I didn't want to sort of taint my recording process or original intentions, right, with the track. So this track is called Coastline, and it just seems like, hey, it's an easy track to listen to on a drive while the coast is, in vicinity. And I do use my Melee pedal to have those swelling, pad tones in the background. Bass line is pretty pretty straightforward. And then obviously we have the melody on top. So nothing crazy as far as arrangement goes, but I really dig the feel of it. And the actual keyboard sound that you hear at the beginning is also from Teenage Engineering, as well as the drum track, right? Those sounds are Teenage Engineering sound samples, and being able to loop those and create those type of arrangements, right? In Teenage Engineering equipment like the OPXY and the KO2, it just simplifies the recording process for me. That's the loop that I play to, right? It's nothing that I'm dropping in a DAW. I'm not using any DAW, much less AI to do any of this. But that's Coastline. The next track is Downstream. Yeah, a really simple halftime drum beat. But the bass line, I don't know if you could hear off my phone speakers, it's just very double time-ish, right? It's pretty busy. And because of that, I decided to roll back the pickup selection or the blend towards the bridge pickup, right? Went a little bit more Jocko tone oriented in that regard. I wanted to, have it a little bit more pokey, not so wide sounding, since I was playing a lot of notes and busier, faster front. The sound in the background is also a Teenage Engineering pad of some sort that I played on the OPXY. And then lastly, the melody on top is just my bass with some chorus effect that I don't change my chorus effect. I don't change any of the parameters of it in my Ampero 2. I like the way it sounds when I'm playing chords. I like the way it sounds when I'm playing melodies, even with other combined effects, right? I am a simpleton in that regard. I'm not crazy about a lot of chorus sounds or what I would deem as heavy chorus sounding guitar or bass, but I like my preset. However I have it set up, it's worked for me. And again, Coastline and then Downstream as track number 2, this chorus effect definitely gives me a visual of water running. And if you know anything about streams and rivers and any sort of body of water moving, it seems not too crazy on top at surface level, right? There's some beauty to it, some calmness to it, but the currents, right, that are underneath are fast and powerful, and we don't see what's under the water immediately or at all, right? There's a lot of life, there's a lot of contour and the currents, right? And so I think that's why I have it called Downstream, right? You have this water type of effect, even though it's sound that we're listening to that's not actual water or river or some sort of stream running, but we can hear the chorus effect on the melody give that impression of water moving. And then the busy bass line underneath, I feel like that's like all the stuff that's underneath the surface of the water. Very busy, very percussive, and I would say powerful, right? It definitely provides some extra movement to the piece. So that's Downstream. Track number 3, the title track, Glacier. Really dig this song or track because it's using my Warm Audio ring mod pedal, the Ringer Bringer. And I'm starting to finally record with this thing, and I'm loving it. This is the only track where I'm using the Ringer Bringer, but I have 2 more tracks already ready to go for the next album because I like it that much. I think partially regretted not having those other 2 tracks on this album, but again, I like to produce the material and release it as it's coming, and so in that whole sequence, I like just staying true to that, right? Whatever the flavor of the month, whatever the inspiration of the month is, that's what's going to be released at the beginning of the next month, right? The month that comes next. So Glacier has a glassy effect because of the ring mod as I'm playing, and I have this filter type of sweep thing going on. I don't believe it's a phaser. It's some sort of filter that's moving, and it gives it that glassy effect. And so I thought glass. I thought, okay, Glacier, like high. It kind of sounds cold, kind of sounds very smooth and silky, and almost inhuman, right? Almost like digital. And well, there's a lot of digital stuff going on in my music, but the fact that it sounds very cut and dry, not very warm and fuzzy, very human, very organic in that regard. It sounds very processed. And so Glacier, that's the title track, and really happy about my ring mod pedal, like I mentioned before. Again, really trying to hype that up. Moving on to track number 4, Grapevine. This track, let me play a bit of it. Actually, did I play track number 3? I didn't even play Glacier. Let me play Glacier real quick. Yeah, kind of aggressive sounding. You can hear some sweeping in the background with Teenage Engineering pad sound. Yeah, and that little wobbly, sweeping, microtonal stuff that's happening because of the filter and the ring mod. I love it. I'm all about it. Anyway, that's Glacier. Number 4, Grapevine. Yeah, very acoustic-y sounding, just a single bass track. Yeah, I end up hammering or tapping, some fourths up on the higher part of the neck of the bass, higher range. This was fun to kind of just try to play some chords, something rhythmic, something finger style, and then, if you want to call it extended techniques, right, where you're tapping a couple of notes with your right hand, your picking hand. It's something I don't usually do, but I felt it was appropriate for trying to present something else melodically, tonally, chord extensions, and even just for fun, right? Trying to push myself to do something different, something new. So that's Grapevine, and I called it Grapevine because it reminds me of just some sort of feeling of a journey, right? Driving, and I started thinking about, man, we used to drive to LA a lot from Fresno to technically the San Fernando Valley, LA area, and we'd have to go through the Grapevine, right? So the Grapevine is something nostalgic for me to think about, and even when driving through it now in more present times, it's like, man, I still feel like a kid going through here, and how powerful these mountains look, and again how in some ways it can be a beautiful thing, yet daunting, because it's still a journey. People do end up going through terrible weather conditions in there in the wintertime, rain, extreme fog, etc. Sometimes there's fires that happen when it gets hot in the summertime around the Grapevine area. So there's some a risk factor or some scary elements to the Grapevine, but overall I feel like I've taken that trip so many times that it's stuck with my, thoughts of my youth, and so the Grapevine still has overall this pleasant sound, which you can obviously get from the tonality of the piece. But even though there's some chords that aren't quite so happy sounding, right, in the progression, there's some ambiguity, right? Some parts that are a little bit left up into interpretation, right? How do you really feel with some of these chords that move up chromatically or have some sort of tension to them? Moving on to track number 5, Juventud, which means youth. Speaking of which, right? Some attitude in here. Yeah, I decided to have this piece called Juventud because it gives this sense of confidence, and some aggressiveness, and the walk, have some sort of swag, almost like too cool in some ways. And decided to go neck pickup for that more P-bass-ish sound on my S Martin. Have some wah effect for a little riff on the side. Have some chords. I believe I'm using chords on that too, just for some movement, some different color in the mix. And then I have the melody on top, right? So I do want to play a little bit more further into the piece. Okay. Where's the chorus part? Oh, here we go. And then we go back to the first melody. So yeah, again, when you're young, right, you have these dreams, you have these aspirations, and all the confidence leading up to making real moves happen. And I feel this piece gives that. So Juventud, that's track number 5. Mariposas, this is for my baby girl for sure, my daughter Analia. All right, I'll stop it right there. But the Chase Bliss mood pedal will always be a favorite of mine, and that's how I'm getting those little micro glitching, micro looping effects. It's just such a cool thing, and I believe this is the first time I use an expression pedal with the mood to get some of those effects. And my daughter loves butterflies. She's very she's a girly pop girl, right? And Mariposas definitely make me think of her. There's a piece by Maná called Mariposa Traicionera, and she loves that song. She would love singing it as when she was like 2 years old. She's gonna be 6 in a couple days, on Sunday actually. And but she used to sing that with all her heart. And Mariposa, the song Mariposa song, Papa, put the song please, in Spanish she would ask me. So Mariposas is definitely for her. Makes me think of her. Makes me think of, the little flutters of the mood pedal. That's very, very butterfly illustrating in my mind. So that's track number 6. Number 7 is Lava. Sounds by Teenage Engineering. Still Teenage Engineering loops. All right, stop it right there. But you get the idea. There's definitely some heavy dirt on the melodic side of things. That's brought to you by the Mealy Walrus Audio pedal. And I think I killed the reverb side of it, left it dry, but then I added a little bit of reverb on my Ampero 2. So I think that's how I routed that or sculpted that. Bass line, you can't really hear it because it's off my phone, is more of a P-bass kind of sound, neck pickup all the way. And even just feel, and after going through it, I'm like, yeah, this definitely gives me what's his name, Tom Misch vibes. And what's that track? Oh my goodness, I have to look it up. This is one of the songs I'm gonna have to look up. Tom Misch. Oh my goodness. Let me see. Let me. I have to do this, guys. Thank you for your patience. I'm almost there. Go to album. It is Disco Yes. Oh, I love that song. Disco Yes by Tom Misch. I always forget. Tom Misch. But anyway, I have performed that song live, and so after I was recording, I was like, man, this is giving me those vibes. And Again, just the influence that we have, right? We can't help it at times. So this is Lava. It's kind of aggressive sounding, sounds energetic, and even a piece of the melody sounds like it almost says, or you could put words into it saying the floor is lava, and that kind of makes me think of my kids as well, how they're playing. I think a lot of us have done that where we're jumping on pillows as kids and trying not to step on the floor, or jump on anything, right? Everything except for the floor, and the floor is lava. Where is that part? Let me click back to this. All right, ready? The floor is lava. Okay, never singing for you guys again or dropping any sort of lyric over my own stuff, but the floor is lava, and this is track Lava, number 7 on the Glacier album. Next is Recuerdos, which means memories. In Spanish, Recuerdos it sounds very nostalgic, very chill, but deep thoughts here. Two chords only. Yeah, so I ended up using my Walrus Audio stereo reverb slower pedal, and just ended up freezing some sort of chord, a series of notes in the background. Obviously added the 2-chord progression bass line on there, and then finally the melody on top. Simple, 3 parts, but really enjoyed that piece, enjoyed recording that piece, enjoy listening to it. Last piece of the album is Recycled, and the reason for that is because there's a bit of melody that kind of just poked out and stuck with me as I was playing over it, messing with it, from a previous album. So see if you can recognize what that part is. Yeah, some tremolo. Yeah, so no drums on this last one. You got some drive on that tremolo part at the beginning. Finally, the bass comes in, just boom, 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 driving constantly the whole time. And then finally, the melody, I do have it running through. Do I have it running through the Audibit Junior, or am I just making that up? Let me hear this. Yeah, it's definitely running through the Audibit Junior, so you get a little bit of dirt, but also that ring mod type of effect. And then with the whole sequencer aspect of the Audibit Junior, that is what's happening in the little bloops and bleeps, cutting in and out, very robotic-like. So I'm thinking Recycle, very like there's a machine involved or some sort of machine element. But let me play a little bit more so you can hear where that recycled melody happens. Right here. Big Picture from the very first album, Big Picture. Yeah, I was gonna say the Evergreen album, the second, but really it's the very first album I ever recorded last year, 2025. Big Picture. That melody is yeah, it's right there. And then it's reshaped, obviously, towards the end of it. But that's another reason why I called it Recycled. I felt that revisited melody or part of melody was appropriate. Obviously, not going to sue myself for stealing my own ideas and then kind of sampling that or replaying it in a different piece or album. But yeah, so that's all the tracks. That's the new batch of 9 for this month, right, of May. Thank you for checking out some of the behind scenes or insights of Glacier. Next album, you already know, June 1st, will be here before we know it, and I'll be releasing another batch of 9 tunes, 2 of which are definitely going to have ring mod effect involved. And so stay tuned for the next podcast episode and anything regarding original music. Have a good one and take care.